Hi, my name is Courtney, and I am like really, I really believe that the sky has a lot to do with how we're feeling. And so many people are having a problem not feeling well, not being happy, not feeling like they're okay. And Jupiter is the planet of expansion, and it's in the sign of Gemini. And so our mind really, really matters. Our thoughts really, really matter right now. Our mind could be driving us crazy. Think about that for a second. All your problems might have to do with your own inner mind, your own inner thoughts, overwhelmed almost, consumed with your thoughts. And so, right now in the sky, it's expanding your thoughts. And it's so easy to get distracted and disturbed more than even usual, right? I mean, we all get disturbed and distracted, but even more so. And so, right now, it's so important to be thinking about how I'm taking care of my mind and noticing what I'm putting into my mind. Like if I'm putting too much news into my mind, what am I thinking? What am I listening to? What am I reading? What am I watching on TV? Our circumstances are our circumstances, but we have this like little voice in our head that's talking all the time. It's on repeat and we're not even aware of it. And this is what I think is really, 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 really the key to getting Jupiter and Gemini right now is how can I be conscious of the thoughts that continue to absorb my being, my well-being. Like, what am I thinking about? You're not your thoughts. Like you think you're your thoughts. You think that there's this little voice inside of you that's saying, think this, think that, but there isn't. It's not you. And our thoughts are creating our reality. Our true self is this divine being that knows we're beyond amazing, that we could do anything. And this voice in our head that's being louder and louder and louder is holding us back from our greatness, and especially now. And so, if we can figure out how to balance that and understand it, it will be so helpful to us. And so, do I have a chaotic mind? So, think about this, right? If you go wash your hands, right? I think this is great. It's like a very Buddhist tradition. You just wash your hands. And if in my mind, am I just washing my hands? Or is there thoughts going on? And there's the trick. If I can notice the thoughts going on and to notice that I really want to silence those thoughts. Because right now, Jupiter is the planet of expansion, abundance, and what I think about will grow. What I worry about will grow. It's blocking us almost the mind and the distractions from actually having our dreams come true. Or maybe it's distracting us from actually what's really happening, right? Because we're so caught up in this, in who we think we are, but we're supposed to align the energy of who we want to be. And so, if we're allowing the thoughts to consume us, or old patterns of being, or old subconscious feelings, well, it'll hold us back from our greatness. So, what can you do? Okay, we can be really grateful for things. We could appreciate things. We can notice what we really like in our life. We could ask for more of what we want. And then when we notice when we're complaining and we're having thoughts in our head that they're not working, we can just notice them, pay attention to them, say, "Hey, I see that and that's not who I am." Like almost talk to it. Don't let it happen. Say, that's not what I really think. I don't need to go there. So a lot of us are programmed by our childhood, by our patterns from when we were younger, by our worries, by our fears. And those thoughts ruminate, or for instance, right now, we're going through a very big cycle of the news, right? So many people are watching the news, listening to the news, and it's all consuming. And so we could just choose to listen to something different for a little while, choose to listen to something that makes me happy, choose to think thoughts that make me happy. But notice what I am putting into my energy field because we are all just energy. And now we have this opportunity. I love that word. It's a very Jupiterian word. an opportunity to change our thoughts, to use our words to make us have a better life, to get what we dream of. I want this, I desire that, how I'm going to speak it into the world. And yeah, like that's a kind of saying, well, if that's how is that possible? But it's almost impossible if you believe, if you're in your own head and you're ruminating. We really need to go back to this idea of becoming a beginner, like having a beginner's mind, a quiet mind. In the Buddhist tradition, it would be called beginner's mind, but we could call it a quiet mind. And it's this idea that we know nothing. Like that's a very Jupiterian word. How about if I was so open-minded and I was willing to believe anything and have new, fresh perspectives, not be ruled by my preconceived ideas, my judgments of myself, my judgments of others. This beginner's mind allows us to have growth, like a growth, like a beyond where we already are, new perspectives. They're not bound by our past beliefs and our worries. And that's what we want for you. We want you to have a peaceful mind. What if you don't have the worries that you've always had and the fears that you don't always have? And how about if you weren't run by them? What if you actually trusted that life is happening for you and that all this beauty is around you? Your words really, 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 really matter. We really want you to know this. What you say really, really, really matters. So we have to be so careful with what we speak into the world, what we think into the world, and especially now because it's expanding. And we know that what we focus on expands. I mean, it's an amazing thing how what we give attention to grows. And if we're not giving attention to the things that need to be given attention to, like what we want, what we desire, what could be, what's good, what feels good to us. And if something doesn't feel good, to really actually notice it, but say, how can I change it? Not coming from a place that you're broken or that you can't do something about it, because we could always do something about it. The awareness is really the key here, to notice when I'm disturbed. And if I'm disturbed, what's the feelings or the story that I'm telling myself? And where can I shift it a little bit? Where can I change? Where can I be flexible? Where can I, if I don't like something, right? How could I focus my energy in a different way? We could really look at Gemini energy and see of the chaos, the chaoticness, the overloading of information. And positivity is like such a beautiful Jupiterian word. And so I'm going to ask you to think in positive ways, to use positive words, to speak out into the world what you want. Remember that we create our reality. We can't control life, right? We can't control what happens always, but we always could control our words and how we respond and how they make us feel, which is so interesting because I think it's also very Geminian that I could choose how I speak back to somebody, to what I allow the story. I think that's a very Gemini word, to make it mean. And I can change my perspective, which is also a very different Jupiter word. I could see the opportunities, the abundance. I really think this is the shift. We're really ready to grow and to use our mind in a better way. And maybe all we are is our mind. Maybe all we are is our thoughts. And maybe, just maybe is all we are is what we say. And so I better be very careful for being careful what I say, because maybe I'm only what I say. Maybe that's how people perceive me, which I actually think is kind of true. Think about that for a second. How else does anyone know who you are besides what you say? So right now, it is really imperative that you expand your words to be more of who you can be, more of your authentic self, because if we are all our words, then our words really matter. So what am I talking about? What am I thinking about? What am I allowing to come into my space? You know, you're a magnificent human being. And I'll say my favorite Jupiterian line is where are you underestimating yourself? If you really looked at yourself from outside yourself, almost like it wasn't who you think you are, right? Where would I say that you're underestimating yourself? Where would you say you're underestimating yourself? So it's really good to quiet our mind, to silence the mind, to kind of see what you actually believe. There's a really good way to do it. You can try to do meditation. I think meditation is very hard sometimes. You could try to just notice your thoughts while you're in the shower and try to quiet them. You could also, when you're doing something, do one thing at a time. That's actually a very helpful way to go about this moment. When you're watching something, watch one thing at a time. Make sure you feel good afterwards. Make sure you notice how you feel before you watch something and then after you watch something, or before you read something and then after you read something. It's a very, very, very good idea. Just notice the feelings that come up in between the two. And what are your daily habits? Are like, right? What are you doing daily? So another way to do it is to write, like wake up in the morning. If anyone ever heard of like the morning pages, and you just write in the morning, and it quiets your mind actually, because then all this information that you need to come out will come out, and it's kind of from the divine. It's like this opening for you to connect to your higher self. It's a great way to start the day. So what you think about really matters, but also to notice that maybe you're not aware of what you're thinking and how much your thoughts are ruling your mind. And imagine that if I'm not even aware of these thoughts that are hurting me or harming me, well, then it's totally unconscious, and I'm going to bring it into my consciousness. And that is the trick. And I think that's why people say they're not good meditators. Well, they actually are. Anyone's a good meditator. It's not about meditating. It's about noticing the thoughts and then letting them pass. But once you start to meditate or do anything where you're quieting your mind, you're aware more of the thoughts. And there's a freedom in it. I promise you, like I'm telling you something that will be so helpful to you. There is a freedom in quieting the mind, of understanding those thoughts, and to sit with yourself. We really want your mind to be calm now more than ever. Else it will totally drive you crazy. And I don't want you to be driven crazy. I want you to be calm. I want you to be peaceful. I don't want you to be distracted. I don't want you to be disturbed. See, I'm saying it the negative, but it's true. I really don't. I want people not to struggle right now. And I think the way not to struggle is to not have a chaotic mind and to notice the mind over and over and over again. Because listen, I will tell you, I've been working on this for like 30 years. My mind is one that just doesn't stop, and it's exhausting to me. And I had to really practice it. And I don't think anyone, I don't know if my mind's worse than other people's minds, but I do believe that I've been training myself for years not to live in my fears or my worries or to be consumed with distraction, consumed with my thoughts. And it saved my life. It's made my life so much nicer. My life has become much more abundant and much more beautiful and much more expansive. And I can notice the synchronicities in life so much more because of it. And that's what I want from you. I would love you to be able to really get the synchronicities. Because what's broadcasting in your world or in your experience? Or what's distracting you? What are you paying attention to? What are you allowing to disturb you? And that mind, I mean, it's constantly running without us knowing. And if we could get it, if we could totally get it, oh my God. I think that's where peace lies. And if you say you want something, right, then be that, right? So if you want peace or if you want people to love you, then you be love. Be love with your words. Be expansive with your words. Be kind with your words. Oh, I love Jupiter. It expands things. And that's a positive, right? Except for if you're not aware of it. And if you're not aware of it and you're expanding your mind with negative thoughts, and negative feelings, it's going to hurt you. And so gratitude is so important. Appreciation so important. Notice what you like in your life and move towards that. Pay attention to that. What you pay attention to will grow. It just does. If you don't like something, don't keep on ruminating about it. You'll get more of it. And I know that's really hard because you ever notice if someone's mean to you or if something you don't like happens, that's all you could think about. Okay, but that's where we have to learn to quiet it. And that's where I think writing or meditating or going within a little bit, even actually then choosing to watch something that makes you feel good so you're not distracted by the mind is even better than ruminating. But when we could see the beautiful gifts that life has and we could appreciate them, I promise you this, the more you appreciate, the more that appreciation grows. The more you could be grateful for what is, the more that you'll find more things to be grateful for. The more you speak in a positive way, the more beautiful, positive things that will come into your life. Yeah, we're always going to have fears and we're always going to have worries. But most of the time, those fears and worries don't come into play. So why are we going to sit there and worry about things that aren't necessarily need to be worried about? What we can do is if you're worried about something, you could say, well, is there anything I could do about this? And if there isn't, we have to let it go. Let it go. I mean, I really think, and then we could go back to this whole, we're really in a Piscean time as well. And it's a very big opportunity, a beautiful, again, Jupiter word, to really let go of things that are not meant to be had. The way we view things, the way we see things, the way our mind views things, our thoughts, our negative energy. It is so crucial right now to know your own divinity, your own connection to this higher power that we're all available. There's no inner mind in there talking to you. I think there are messages from the divine that are beautiful, but they're very positive messages. They're not negative. They're not where these thoughts of worry and fear, they're they're like little God winks of, oh, go do this or go do that. They're kind. You can do this. There's messages coming in. And it's really important to kind of listen. But if you're always thinking and ruminating and wasting energy scrolling, you can't get them. So your mind matters. Your thoughts matter. And I know I'm repeating myself, but we're really stubborn humans, right? So it's we're very stubborn. It takes us a really long time. So I really want you to get to a place where you could celebrate yourself, love yourself, even though, and use mantras, use words of empowerment. I can do this. I can do this. I can do anything I choose to do. I could be anything I want to be if I have the courage to be that or do that. It's really an opportunity for you to be your highest self, your best self, to believe in yourself. And if you're not going to believe in yourself, who's going to? And if you're not going to take care of your mind, who's going to? Think about that. What is astrology if it's not to understand and make my life better? And so to make your life better, your mind, your words matter. And I so want you to be happy. I so want you to feel good. So want you to know you're whole. But it starts with you. And it really does start with your mind. And I will tell you, most of us are ruminating a lot. And we're not even hearing the higher self because we're so caught up in that lower voice that we kind of don't believe it anymore. Question it. Hope to see you soon. Bye.